Sorry this video's taken 4 months. You know how it is, life, eh? I hope you enjoy. Welcome back as we have a look at every reference in Peep Show. Let's get straight into it. Today we have Series 1, Episode 2, The Interview. We start this episode off seeing Mark get up and get ready for his day. He helps himself to his famous breakfast of toast, obviously having brown for first course and white for pudding. Jeremy then comes in to get some toast for himself. He looks at the toaster and thinks,
"That's a bit like the Crusher in Star Wars, but red hot. What if Mum and Dad were trapped in one, and I had a big hook I could swing down to rescue one of them? Who would I pick?"
He's obviously referring to the famous scene from Star Wars A New Hope, when Luke, Leia and Han Solo get stuck in the garbage compactor. Is the toaster a bit like a garbage compactor? No, not really, but I kind of see his comparison. I'm also not sure which one of my parents I would save, for the record. Mark then tells Jeremy that he's swung him an exciting opportunity to be a clerical assistant, and Jeremy is about as excited as you would expect. He disgruntlingly makes the following comparison.
"You wouldn't ask the Chemical Brothers to do your laundry for you. They'd be off their tits."
The Chemical Brothers are an English music duo who make electric dance type music. I wouldn't ask them to do my laundry for me, but that's only because I'm a big boy and do it myself. Wikipedia lists the Chemical Brothers as pioneers in the big beat genre, which instantly made me think of the Big Beat Manifesto from Series 5 of Peep Show. We then see Mark and Jeremy in front of the telly. Mark's doing his best to pitch Jailbeat to Jeremy, but he's not really paying attention. Jeremy changes the channel, and Robbie Williams and Nicole Kidman's cover of Something Stupid by Frank Sinatra is on.
The guy who wrote that, he's probably up to his neck in penny loafers and blue pool tables.
I'm not sure if by the guy who wrote that, Jeremy's referring to Frank Sinatra or Robbie Williams. I hope it's Robbie Williams, because Frank Sinatra was dead quite a few years before this episode aired. His comment about penny loafers and blue pool tables are probably just him rattling off things that he thinks are vaguely posh, and he's saying, "I could have those one day if you believe in my music." He then changes the channel and exclaims,
"Blimey, what's God up to?"
He's calling Bob Ross God, which is pretty wholesome. After Mark arrives at work, he has an awkward encounter with a colleague in the lift. Mark is complaining that he's only riding the lift one floor. When the doors open, we see the man limp away, and Mark has the following to say.
"People like him should wear stickers. They've got them for their cars." Oh yeah, great idea, Adolf.
Let's not go too into detail here, just to keep things at least vaguely light, but Mark is obviously referring to a leader of Germany in World War II who made certain members of society wear badges to identify themselves. While Mark is at work, Jeremy is having a rummage through his room to see if he has anything spicy hidden away. Jeremy is, of course, also having a general grumble at the fact that Mark has asked him for some rent.
"Where's my rent? I mean, where's the rent, Mr. Jim Morrison? Mr. Keats?"
Jeremy's point is that these people are also creatives just like him, but you wouldn't ask them for the rent money, right? The thing Jeremy fails to mention is that these people are actually successful, unlike him. Jim Morrison was a singer-songwriter and a member of a band called The Doors. I can see why Jeremy would want to compare himself to this guy, although Mr. Keats is referring to a poet, which seems a very highbrow reference, especially for Jeremy. Jeremy eventually stumbles across a magazine called Fantasy Figure Modeler under Mark's bed. He's clearly enamoured by the young lady on the front of it and decides to spend some alone time with her, let's say.
"Take off my bodkin and my jerkin."
Bodkin and jerkin are two brilliant words, and I'm genuinely surprised that Jeremy was written to know what these words are. They're very obscure. A bodkin is an archaic word for a dagger, and we can indeed see that the young lady on the cover of the magazine has got a dagger. A jerkin is a small, sleeveless leather jacket. It's an old item of clothing. You might see it on nobles in paintings from the 16th century, that sort of thing. And as we can also see, the woman on the magazine is wearing an item just like that. Jeremy has used some obscure words here, but he has absolutely nailed it, to be fair to him. Back at the office, Mark is triumphing in his flirty cartoon he's made for Sophie, which I'm going to censor for obvious reasons.
"And then I go and seal the deal by doing something wicked like this cartoon."
Remember we heard Something Stupid earlier in this episode? Mark is singing along to the tune of this, even if it is about a HR disaster he's just made. Later we see Hans and Jeremy at the flat. Hans is playing a new track he's made. It's rubbish. They have an argument about their band and debate stopping the band altogether. They're not actually sure on the name of their band, but there are some interesting names, including the Hair Blair Bunch, which is presumably a reference to Tony Blair, who was Prime Minister of the UK at the time of this episode. In reference to Hans and Jeremy's band potentially breaking up, Jeremy says,
Look, if this is it, if this is John and Paul, 1970...
This is a reference to the Beatles, who broke up in 1970. John and Paul were two of the Beatles. Hans is annoyed at Jeremy and zings an insult towards him.
This is like your whole Balearic bullshit, isn't it? 1 minute it's all, oh, I love you, man. The next it's, where's that 50 quid you owe me?
Hans is referencing Balearic beat music, which is a type of electronic, dancey type music. He's basically saying that when the music is on and everyone's dancing and happy, then they love each other. But when the music stops and everything's over, it's all serious and down to business. What's slightly ironic is Hans does essentially this, but in reverse, and immediately wants the band to get back together again. We then jump forward and see Jeremy going round to Tony's flat, asking her if she has a fax machine. If you're young enough to the point where you don't know what a fax machine is, go and ask your parents. Tony is amused by Jeremy's request and compares him to...
This is like that movie, The Spaceman and King Arthur, but in reverse.
This is a film that was released in the late 70s by the Disney company, actually. It was released under a couple of different names, but it was called The Spaceman and King Arthur in the UK. The vague plot is that a modern day man goes back in time and helps King Arthur using modern day technology to overcome some evil plot of some description. Tony then pitches Jeremy a pyramid scheme. If you're investing in a scheme similar to Tony's, stop watching this video and go and sort out your personal finances instead. Meanwhile, at the office, Mark is enjoying a delicious snack.
Enter the pit of Sarlacc, little crisps.
This is another Star Wars reference in this episode. The Sarlacc pit is a big gaping orifice in the middle of the desert with long tentacles that consumes anything near it. What a strange sentence. After a bit of moping about the cartoon he made earlier, Mark makes reference to that Austrian leader that we mentioned again, and the fact that even he had a girlfriend.
Not Hitler in his bunker. He was really under the cosh. Mind you, at least he had a girlfriend.
Actually, he had a wife briefly as well. The episode continues in a relatively straightforward manner for the next few minutes. We see Tony trying to explain to Jeremy why a pyramid scheme is good. Spoiler alert, they aren't. And later we see Sophie and Mark chatting about the cartoon that Mark made for her. Fair play to Mark, somehow he actually gets the digits. What a player. Back at home in the evening, Mark leaves an awful voicemail for Sophie that again references the song Something Stupid. At work the next day, Mark almost runs into Sophie. He jumps into the stationery cupboard to hide and thinks to himself,
Yes, Blitzkrieg, I'm in the Ardennes. You can't touch me in the Ardennes.
Blitzkrieg was a German military war tactic in the Second World War, and the Ardennes is a place that they attacked, unsuccessfully. Later, during his interview at JLB, Jeremy thinks to himself,
I'm Di, she's Bashir.
This is referencing an interview with HRH, the Princess of Wales, which was an episode of BBC's Panorama. It featured, predictably, an interview with Diana, Princess of Wales, and Martin Bashir. It was very controversial at the time.
Great. He'll be able to pay off the Blockbusters fine.
Plus, who remembers Blockbusters? Again, you young'uns, go and ask your parents. When talking about the challenge that JLB would provide for Jeremy, he tells Barbara,
More like doing a crossword than a tracheotomy.
this is a surgical procedure that cuts a hole in your neck and helps you breathe. Another impressive word that Jeremy knows this episode. After Jeremy messes up the interview by trying to get Barbara into pyramid selling, Mark thinks to himself,
I want compensation. I want reparations. Brutal reparations. I want the Rhineland. It's going to be 1919 all over again.
this is a reference to the end of World War I, where the Rhineland, an area of modern-day Germany, was given to the Allied forces as part of reparations against Germany. Mark finally has the guts to tell Sophie he likes her in person, but not before she compares Jeremy to actor Jim Carrey, which seems very generous.
Oh, thank you. Calm down, she's not bloody Pontius Pilate.
Mark's right, she isn't Pontius Pilate. He was the Roman leader who ordered the crucifixion of one Jesus. The episode comes to the end in the lift, where Jeff joins Mark for the ride down and starts humming Something Stupid. Sophie has obviously told him about Mark's escapades. Thank you so much for watching a strange man ramble about Peep Show for a second time. If you haven't seen the first video I did, go and check it out, and hopefully I'll see you soon.